Here we are, everyone. Welcome back to Pomming Oz. Welcome to the preview, Carlton versus Gold Coast. So if you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Really helps the channel out, and you've been doing that fantastically. So let's get stuck into this game. So we're coming up against a side that has won the last two. They Gold Coast beat Adelaide, and then they also beat the Doggies in a tight game. Aside from that, they did lose to Brisbane almost 3 weeks back now. And yeah, Carlton's form, 5 losses. Them losses are starting to rack up, aren't they? We've had the 5 losses in a row. Not a great year, let's be honest. And it's tough at the moment. It really is tough. It feels like a lifetime ago that we beat the Eagles, but since then we've had losses to Brisbane, Dogs, Collingwood, Sydney, Melbourne, Essendon, hoping not to be 7 in a row coming up. And against a side that traditionally when Carlton play them, they've been disappointing. You remember the last time we played them, 2022, it was one of our 8-2 losses. We lost by 30 to Gold Coast. Then you go back to 2021, there was that 20-point loss. 2021, in the round 4, though, we did beat them. This is a weird one for Carlton. 4 wins, 1 draw, 8 losses, 15 versus 6 losses, 6 wins. This is one of them games that Carlton traditionally have come into this game with a bit of hope and left with no hope. So let's look at the tail of the tape then. And as you can see, when we look at the two sides in cold hard facts, they're a very kick-heavy side. They're a very territory-based side. When you watch sides like Gold Coast, they like to get the ball moving forward. They like to rely on their crummers. They like to rely on bringing that ball to deck. It's a very simplistic system, but it is very effective, particularly against a team like Carlton. They are one of the top kicking sides. They win a lot of clearances. You're looking at the best clearance side. One of the best clearance sides. They are a side that will be looking to take Carlton on and spread them early is a big staple of their game. They're very, very strong at playing the ground well, and they really do look to limit opposition moving out of 50 as well. They're one of the top sides at winning the rebound 50 differential and making it hard for you to get out. This is going to be a really interesting game for the Blues because they've picked a team that really does make sense. And we'll come onto the teams now. We've done this a little bit differently, but as we can see here with the teams, we've gone very... I like this team, actually. I liked Carlton's team, and I also liked what they were doing with it. But you look at it here, they've really gone with logic. You can see the matchups here. Boyd, Wheater in Kemp versus what we predict, King, Casbolt and Berry. Berry's his own problem as well. He's a nightmare little customer. He's really tricky. He tries to hurry the kicks, as is Nick Holman, Jack Lukosius and Roses. I've got a feeling that Roses and Holman will really look to put that pressure on and try and get Carlton kicking quickly at a D50, which is where most sides know Carlton will eat up the turnover. You go into the midfield, and the midfield is a battle that is really exciting, I think. It's an area that I think both sides will have a claim that they can get ascension. Florini versus Cottrell, Swallow versus Cripps, Ainsworth versus Akers. They'll heavily rotate the wings, as will Carlton. You would suspect Bailey Humphrey sometimes flitters up there. Rory Atkins not shy of going there. They also pull out players off their half-back line and their half-forward line should they need to change it up and be a bit more defensive. But that is going to be an area here where spread is going to be essential. Ainsworth and Florini, even though they're not household names per se, or the type of names of players that people get excited about, they are definitely the type of players that when you look at them on paper and then you look at them on grass, you see why they're there. This is going to be a really intriguing little encounter here because Carlton have got to get the spread, get it away from the contest because they are strong. We look at their forward line and you're looking at the 7th ranked inside 50 side, the 11th ranked goal scoring side versus Carlton, who are ranked 18th and 17th in them. And that is going to be a very intriguing battle, especially when you get into the ruck, when you've got the third best ruckman in the league. So Carlton are going to really be looking here against a side that, as we looked at the head-to-head stats, their chance creation, as we make a lot of chances, our accuracy and our inside 50 success is so poor. But their hit-outs and their clearance differential is a lot stronger than Carlton's. And when you look at the meters gained, that is a real strong one as well. So we've done this a little bit differently this week. I've had a bit of feedback, and I thought we'll play around with it and see if you guys and girls like it. But this is a game here that really is saying that Carlton have got to play to their strengths and also find some old ones. They've got to make sure that the meters per disposal, they either get higher or they get more assured. A lot of Carlton's stats are flawed by their safe kicking, which makes our accuracy around the ground a lot higher than it really is. So let's have a look at it then. The defensive ratings of these sides. So what we've done here is we've taken the defensive numbers of what they do as a defensive core, their attacking numbers, and then their overall. So you actually find that as a defensive unit based on the field of what's played, in a statistical part, these guys are a stronger side. Attacking-wise, but you're talking points of a decimal. But overall, Carlton do have the advantage, and that is kind of coming from your players like Whelan, who have such strong defensive numbers, but they're let down by the others. You find that Carlton are susceptible to that third player that plays that high half forward or a pocket forward, which really affects their ratings. However, the attacking ratings kind of flawed in a way by how much distance some of these players get. But it's a real annoying thing because this paints a really clear picture of what's going on with our football club at the moment. We have a lot of tools down the back half of the ground to really hurt teams. The problem is the midfield isn't getting themselves in position to A, give them an opportunity, and B, it's not working hard enough to make the options. But you are looking at Gold Coast, who are the 6th best side from scoring in the defensive 50. However, they do hemorrhage them as well, just as much as Carlton. So it's going to be a really interesting little matchup here. But this is based on just their pure raw data, things like one-on-ones, things like spoils, things like ground ball gets for the defense, then the attacking, the score launches, difficulty degree of kick and stuff. So that's a really interesting little facet. We come to the engine room, and the engine room is always an exciting one. You can see there Chera and Rao as it, and this is quite damning reading here. You're looking at a side that is defensively more sound in its midfield, attacking-wise, and this is going to be a big concern for Carlton. Carlton here have got to make sure that they hit the ground running here. If you gain ascendancy here, obviously Wicks is getting a lot of first use, third-ranked ruckman in the comp. Carlton have got to make sure that they look for avenues here to go that are really strong. So this is going to be a really, really big battle. This is where Carlton have got to... One of the top sides are getting their hands to the ball first in the midfield, but ranked bottom 4 in what they do with it. That is where Carlton have got to look at trying to get this out wide. So with the team that they've selected, that kind of suggests with a lot more type of players that are conducive with quick use, particularly Cunningham. Fogarty obviously comes in for them inside 50 tackles, but they've got a lot more creativeness there, especially with Jack Martin and David Cunningham working that high half forward, also being able to float through the middle with Cunners. So that's going to be a really interesting battle there, because as we watch it this season, Gold Coast have been infinitely better. First use is going to be very intriguing, and it always is. These ruck battles are always stellar, and it's no surprise Gold Coast have the monopoly, particularly in a ruckman's defensive rating is the rate work they do around the ground almost when we judge it in this way. Their attacking rating, we're looking at basically the ruck work, and Gold Coast, I think it's a no-brainer, win that one. And this is going to be really important here because although Carlton get a lot of hit-outs to advantage, this is where you're also looking at your midfield. It kind of constantly annoys me when people judge ruckman. you've always got to look at the type of dudes who are feeding off the work and feeding off the work that can be done. So this is going to be a real intriguing battle for Carlton, and one that they want to look to try and break even, but starve good use. The glitz and glam, the forward line. Now, defensively, pound for pound, they are a better side, obviously. The tackles, the pressure numbers are all there. They're tough to rebound from. The attacking ratings, though, outside of goal accuracy, their opportunities to goal are incredibly higher. Carlton should be one of the best sides if they kick to AFL normal in their ability to kick for goals, especially with Fogarty and Cunningham coming in. Cunningham has an incredibly high attacking rating of when he's played. So obviously this is a hard one to judge because we're using historical data with them. But pound for pound, Carlton's forward line should be potent and producing more goals. And when we go back to the stats we talked about earlier, when we look at Carlton's chance creation, it's 48% nearly versus 45%. And they're only one goal down. Only one goal down. But it's that accuracy and that inside 50 success, which is partly defense. Carlton are conceding 7% on inside 50 success. And that's kind of trying to create them rebound 50s to stop them. It's trying to create a lot of rebound inside 50 entries. But pound for pound, if Carlton can get it in there, in quality moments, they should be all right. So let's look at the key man. We've done one key man, and I wanted to talk about this in. Mr. David Cunningham comes into the side. Very good score involvements. Okay, pressure acts. Shots on goal, just a little bit higher from where his average position is. But this chance creation, 24% of what he does ends up being a shot on goal. And that is very, very high, right? So 24% of his attacking phases result in shots of goal. Now, I'm not saying he's the great white hope, but what I am saying is that is something we need because he puts them in dangerous spots. So Cunners is a great in for Carlton and one that I'm really excited. So let's look at this, right? When we actually mirror them together, the chance of winning. Now, you'll look at this defense versus forward, right? Carlton should have that monopoly. Should have that monopoly. The midfield, though, is a battle for Gold Coast. Should win that. Overall, it is bringing it out as a 9-point win for Carlton. And that, I can tell you, anything below 10 means you're looking for it. So what we're looking for in this game here is Carlton to really execute the basics, but also look to spread that out. Look to take the game on. Look to bring a bit of meters with disposals as opposed to being safe, and Carlton should be all right because they are going to play a very territory-based game, which should come into the way that Voss likes to set up behind the ball. The key to it is making sure the forwards stay deep enough so we have that exit ball. But this should be a ripping game. This should be a ripping game. So let me know in the comments your score predictions. Answer the questions that I've scrolled across your screen. I'll look forward to doing this live on Sunday with you all. Look after yourself. Enjoy your weekend. I'm out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad.